Hey there, this is going to be the recap video for hour 2 of my 2 hoop 1 hand manipulation workshop series that happened today, August 30th, 2020. If you're watching this, that means you either purchased a ticket or you purchased this recap video. Either way, thank you so much. I really appreciate all your support from the bottom of my heart. In the first hour of class, we spent more time on the intro material and we really delved into Ocho grip a lot, and we did a whole warm-up and everything. In hour 2, we just got right to it, just got right to the content, so that's what I'm going to do here. And we're going to be spending a decent amount of this hour focusing on what my favorite grip is when manipulating 2 hoops in one hand, and that is infinity grip. Infinity grip looks like this, so one way that you can get into it is by having both hoops out in front of you like so, and I'm holding the bottom of it on the inside, on the top from the outside, and I'm just going ahead and lowering this back hoop here onto my wrist like so. That's pretty much the most simple way to get into this move. We can have this, we could bring this behind us. We could have it in front where the top hoop is framing my face. You can also bring it to the non-native side behind here. And now I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys a move that looks like this. And we're gonna learn this both ways. So what's happening here is I'm holding the hoops. I'm wrapping my hand all the way around the front of the hoops to grab them from the inside at the bottom like so. And my thumb is pointed to the non-native left side here. I'm gonna go ahead, and what I'm really doing here is I'm holding the hoop that's closest to me, this pink hoop here, with my 4 fingers. And the green hoop is really just balancing in the palm of my hand, okay? I'm going to grab this pink hoop with my 4 fingers, and I'm going to initiate this move with the pink by bringing the pinky side of my hand up towards the sky as this other hoop balances in this little nook on the side of the pinky side of my hand here. By the time I get to here, the green hoop is now balanced on the back of my hand. Make sure that as this green hoop is balancing on the back of your hand, that your thumb is ready nearby to keep this hoop in check, to make sure that it doesn't fall from down your arm for the next half. So we keep that thumb really locked in there. It doesn't necessarily need to grab onto the hoop, but it has to stay open like so in order to act as a wedge. So we're here. We're gonna guide this hoop now up and behind us and allow this hoop to go from the back of the hand here to now coming into this nook between the 4 fingers and the thumb here to then close behind us. Okay, so when we put the whole thing together, it looks like so. Show you from this back. Side. And this side. Cool. From here, the hoops are behind you and you're basically holding them in the palm of your hand underneath them. My pink hoop is furthest away from my back. My green hoop is touching the small of my back. I'm going to continue to guide the back hoop with my 4 fingers here. You see how I'm holding onto the hoop with my 4 fingers while the other one's just balancing on the side of my hand here? That's how you initiate this move. So I lead with the pinky side of my hand up. Pinky side of the hand leads up so that the green hoop balances on the side of the pinky side of the hand here, to come to now the back of my hand. Okay, back of my hand here. My thumb anchors that green hoop in so that I can go from the back of the hand to closed in the hand in front. So when we put that all together, it looks like so. And reverse. Now put the whole thing together. And reverse. Beautiful. I'm gonna go ahead and just show you now some variations of this that we went through. So once you do the first half here, you don't even have to do the second half if you don't want to. You can go ahead and have the hoop slide down your body and step out. And you can repeat. Up and over, slide through. Now we can initiate it from down here and start with the non-native side. To here, re-grab, now slide through. And we can create this nice pattern if we keep switching sides. You also have the option of stepping through first. So I could step through first, bring the hoops all the way up. Once I bring the hoops up, I'm going to switch my hand so that it comes to be under it. That way I have better control. Again, my pink hoop is in the back and is being held by the 4 fingers, and the green hoop's in the front. Now that I've pulled the hoops up, I'm in a perfect position to open up out to the side and come down that way. I can step through again, get my palm underneath these hoops, lead with the pinky side of the hand to now do the non-native side. So that whole pattern would look like so. Cool. Another variation, we open up out to the side, and now we flip the whole thing in front. And now we flip the whole thing to the non-native side. And you can come up and close. And you can repeat to create this sort of a pattern. You could also switch sides and go the opposite way. You can also come to here, and you don't even have to go back to what we were doing before. You can come to here and do an isoflower if you would like. We're going to actually get into breaking down drills for isoflowers next, so if you don't know how to do that just yet, it's okay. Huh? Okay, so I think those were all the variations that I showed for this type of stuff. The next phase of the workshop that we got into was drills for 2-hoop 1-hand iso hybrids. So all the drills that you need to be able to do isoflower, 8-petal flower, and all these types of things, as well as we also went over that transition there from isoflower into ocho grip. And then we went into a couple other transitions into and out of those sorts of moves. So that's coming next. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys some of my most, what I consider to be the most important drills for all those types of moves. So if you're just learning an iso flower for the first time, this is the most important drill that you want to do. So again, we're starting in that infinity grip. If you don't want to get into it, you know, with this whole shebang here, you can just go ahead and drop that hoop down onto your wrist there. Okay, and you're gonna go ahead and really just focus on your isolation. Just focus on drawing the cleanest half isolation that you possibly can. Okay, once you get to bam, that point right there, and you feel confident and ready, just go for just one isolation. One, and then go back to pendulum. This is really what you guys want to practice to get your iso flower nice and clean, is can I just do one rotation and go back to this pendulum nice and clean and controlled, one. When you feel like you're ready, then go ahead and add more rotations, 1, 2. 1, 2. I cannot stress this enough. When you, if you're learning an iso flower for the first time through this video, just focus on the isolation. Forget that the other hoop is there. Just ignore it. Just pretend like it's not there. Just focus on doing the cleanest isolation that you can. And it will just happen if you just do this drill and just focus on your isolation. 1. Now I'm gonna try and go for 2. 1, 2. When 2 is easy, go ahead and go for 3. 1, 2, 3. And even if you're very good at iso flower, I mean, this is still just important drills to do to work on your control. Can I do 6, 3, 4, 5, 6, and go back to a pendulum? Nice and slow, nice and controlled. All right. So that's my gist on how to do iso flower. I'll just quickly show you from behind. Same drill. Cool. Next important drill is this. You're gonna go back to here, and now you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna give this hoop that's on your wrist a push so that it can spin counterclockwise. Okay, so from a side view here, you want to work on your ability to spin this hoop on your wrist without clanking the hoop in front. So you really want to focus on your planes here. I try and always have my head as like the center point for the top hoop. And even if it's at the center point, I'd say it's always better to do these with having the hoop like a little bit lower as opposed to higher up. The higher up that you have your arm, the harder it's going to be on your shoulder, and also it's going to be harder to control it on your wrist if you're changing the level at which your wrist is in reference to your elbow. So you don't want to like start the move down here and end up here. Wherever you're starting is where you want to kind of keep the level of your wrist the whole time as you're doing these drills. So go ahead and give it a go and try and have them not clank. In order to do that, that means that if I'm having this green one spin completely vertically, this one needs to be angled slightly down and in front in order to not clank, right? I don't know why I'm like going at an angle right now. I think I'm really tired. My arm's getting really tired. But the goal is to be as vertical as possible. But if you have that top hoop still vertical, but just slightly, very, very slightly forward, it'll be less likely to clank. But you don't want to have it too forward because then it won't look like a flat circle that you're isolating. So it's hard to find that happy medium at first, but you'll get there. So we're practicing this, trying to not clank. If it clanks, it's okay. We accept it and we move on. We just try again. Okay? Once you feel like you're good and you feel like you got a couple rotations down, you have pretty good control, they're not really clanking anymore, go ahead and just try and isolate it to one side and see, can I do it without it clanking again? So can I go from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock, or to 3 o'clock? Can I go back to 6 o'clock? Can I go from 6 o'clock now to 9 o'clock? And back to 6 o'clock. Once you feel comfortable with that, see how fast you can go. You might be able to do something that looks like this. Gotta give my hand a little bit of a break. So again, you want to drill this. You want to get it good enough that you can start to isolate to different sides. To then do the full anti-spin flowers, to then just continue that isolation across the top. And to do the whole thing a bit faster, so that it only hits 4 points. Very similar, but different, a drill. Once you feel comfortable with this, then go ahead and flip that top hoop down and work on those same types of drills. Okay? So rotating that hoop on the wrist while working on, can you isolate now along the outside of the hoop? So same idea, but now we have an outside grip and we're isolating along the top of this hoop here. Okay? The next drills that I talked about, in order to get the 8-petal flower, you need to be able to spin 2 hoops in one hand, like so. Okay, in this sort of a timing. So when you first start out with 2 in one hand, they're gonna kind of be at the same time, right? But if you are able to separate them a bit, like literally physically separate them in your hand, so that one stays closer to your thumb and the other goes more towards your fingers, you can actually work out that they can be on different timings. Try and maintain this timing as best as you can and for as long as you can by, there's like a little twiddle in your fingers that happens that helps you to get this momentum. Okay, so I'm doing this drill while having both of them in my hand. If you're more of an advanced hooper and you're used to doing these types of drills and these types of moves, I challenge you to also work on transferring now the hoop that's closest to you from your hand to your wrist, and then back from your wrist to your hand. So can you make that transference? Can you go from both on the hand to just one in the hand and one on the wrist, and vice versa? So that's another good drill that I like to do, that I think is super helpful. Once you get this timing down with both of them in your hand, it's going to be really easy to do the 8-petal flower. All you have to do is hit all the points in your anti-spin flower. So down, left, up, right. Without all the extra rotations, it looks like so. Oops. We come back to our timing here. And what's happening is right here, when I get to this point in my anti-spin flower at the right, so I'm going from the top down to the right, is when I actually grab the front hoop with my 4 fingers and I give it a little push to help with the momentum of the to continue the anti-spin flower, to make it continuous. So I'm only grabbing the hoop. Right here it's free, it's just rotating. Everything's just rotating here. So I'm grabbing the hoop right here, 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 release, here release. That's the only time that I'm actually grabbing. And I'm only grabbing this front pink hoop while this green hoop stays wedged. My thumb literally stays like this the whole time to keep it wedged in there. And I'm only grabbing that pink one and to help just guide it back down. Right there, right there, right there. Cool. All right, the next thing that we talked about was going from isoflower to ocho. To go from isoflower to ocho, oh, real quick before I forget, also highly recommend practicing isoflower where it's on your wrist and then transferring it to the hand. So just like we practiced these sorts of drills for isoflower with it on your wrist, also good to practice them with it on your hand. So instead of starting on your wrist, like here, it would start here in this little nook that I keep talking about between the thumb and the four fingers, and it would stay there the whole time. And this will help you learning it both ways and then figuring out how to go, okay, right now they're both in my hand, now it's back to my wrist. That'll really help you put some of these moves together for when you want to go like from the isoflower back to the iso anti-spin. Okay, so yes, so isoflower to ocho. What I'm doing here is once I get to the point in my isoflower where I'm really like going from like 12 o'clock to 9 o'clock, so there to there, that's when I'm going to, at 9 o'clock, or as I'm approaching 9 o'clock, I'm holding that hoop, this center hoop that's framing my face. I want to make sure I'm holding that with my four fingers here so that I can hinge it and swing it out to the side. That's what I mostly want to focus on, right, is this hinge. The other bit of it is keeping this green hoop locked in. And that's the reason why I recommend doing your isoflower, learning it first on your wrist and then learning it with it in both hands. Because if you're doing your isoflower like so, it's going to be very easy to then go from here to fold this out to the side and grip it. Because when the hoop's here, your thumb can now stay locked on it, and it literally locks in there as you fold this other hoop out to the side, re-grip back to ocho. So that's basically what's happening there, just more dynamic. So I'm in my isoflower and watch as I'm about to hit 9 o'clock, that's where I fold out. Can you not? Go away. Stop it. Okay. Okay, next we got into here. Next, from here, we talked about turning over the left shoulder to do a barrel roll. So isolating along the top to 12 o'clock, back to this side here, ending thumbs down. From here, I have my other hand free and I can now grab either this way or this way, however I want to grab, or even here, however I want to go into weaves. So that's a transition that I like doing out of ocho grip, is either being an ocho grip here and just grabbing the hoop here to go. Can you stop him from whining, please?
Foul face.
So I like to go from either here.
I'll score.
Sorry, my cat is like really
Give
whiny
me
right now.
just a second. I'll take him out.
So I like to go from ocho grip with the either having the hoops in front of me like so, and now I can grab this outside hoop with my left hand and go right into a 3-beat weave. Or in the case of the one that I showed you, we did a barrel roll first to come to now this side to do my weaves now with my body facing this way. Another transition, so that then I just went over a couple different transitions that I like, weaving to isoflower transitions. Yes, so you can also go from weaves. I'm not going to be teaching weaves in this video. I'm sorry, but that's just not the purposes of this workshop. It was more to just kind of show you different transitions into and out of 2 hoops, 1 hand. So even if you can only do a 2-beat weave as opposed to a 3-beat weave, that's okay. I'm doing a 2-beat weave here with my left hand crossing on top. If I want to go from this 2-beat weave into an isoflower, all I have to do is stop it at this moment here. So right here is where my left hand weaves up in front like so. I'm going to stop it there. This other hand is now thumbs down out to the side here. It's going to lead with the thumb side to extend along the bottom, draw and paint the outside of this circle until you get to about here, okay? Once you get to here is where you're gonna literally swap hoops to go into isoflower, okay? So all I'm doing is holding this hoop here, I'm painting the outside of this hoop, I get to here, I grab, I isoflower. One more time. From the 2-beat, I stop my 2-beat here. I'm thumbs up at 9 o'clock in an outside grip. My other hand is thumbs down in this awkward kind of position here. It's going to lead with the thumb to extend and draw and paint a circle all around this hoop until we get to here, at which point I'm going to grab, let go of my other hand, and give it a go. For those of you who are more advanced weavers, if you can do a fountain, or a reverse 3-beat weave, or a reverse 2-beat weave, same thing, you can stop the hoop again in the front here and go right into isoflower. So you can do it from a forward 2-beat or 3-beat, like so. You can also do it from reverse, like so. You can also go from isoflower to weaves immediately. So if I'm doing my isoflower here, once that hoop's about to come around again, all I want to do is as that outside hoop comes around and drops down, I'm going to take my left hand here to grab the center hoop, the pink hoop, grab that, now let go with my right hand, and now I can go into weaves. So one more time, I'm doing my isoflower. I get to here, I grab, I let go, I go into weaves. And again, for you advanced weavers out there, yes, you can also do these sorts of transitions from any weave. So you can do a meltdown, you can do this from the meltdown. Oh. If you can do a head meltdown, you can do this from the head meltdown. Trying to think. Yeah, even just from a regular windmill, you can do it. So if I'm just doing a regular windmill, and my left hand comes in front here, I can transfer and go right into it as well. So you can do it from any type of weave, really. Okay, so there was just a few things that I didn't cover in the workshop that I did want to cover, so I'm just going to quickly cover it here just to give you guys a little bit of an extra that I forgot to include in the workshop. Whoops. We're going to get into isoflower now from a downward escalator like so. So this requires me, because I'm going to want to do my isoflower in my right hand, I'm going to be doing this downward escalator in my left hand. What I'm going to want to do is I'm going to start with just holding this hoop with an outside grip here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let it fold. So it's going to fold all the way around as far as so you see how my pinky's really holding onto the hoop here? I really want this hoop to make as much contact as it possibly can with my wrist and my forearm here. So you see how close that is, how close the side of the hoop is to my wrist? I really want it to get really nice and close so that this part of the hoop can fold above my elbow. I don't want this fold to happen below my elbow. That's going to change the dynamics of the downward escalator. So this fold needs to be above the elbow. Once you get to here, you just go ahead and let go of the hoop and kind of just allow gravity to do the rest of the work. Let it go, and it's gonna just kind of fall the way that it wants to. Again, really, this downward escalator is really about that pinky flare. So really activating through the pinky side of the hand there. I'm just gonna show this fold in a couple other views. Beautiful, okay. And one more. Bam. The other hoop is just holding this hoop, or the other hand, I mean. The other hand is just holding the other hoop, just like so. So we go ahead and do that, and wow, look at that. It just falls right where I want it to fall, and I just step out, and now I'm ready to go into my isoflower. If you're like, oh, Allie, I really like suck with my left hand, like this isn't working with my left hand, it's okay. You can go ahead and you can do it with your right hand. And once you get to here, just switch hands. Switch hands, step out. Basically looks the same. And now I'm just using my right hand to do the escalator, and I'm switching hands so that I can now do my isoflower with the hand with my dominant hand. All right, so I just wanted to show you guys that as an extra little thing. I forgot to do that in the workshop, so there you go. A little extra credit. In the next phase of the workshop, we learned different no beats, so I'm just going to show you now. We learned yay, yay, that one, that one, that one, and wait, yeah, and that one. Cool. So basic no beat with one hand. You want to make sure that. So you're penduluming across the bottom, starting on the outside right here, thumbs down, swinging across the bottom to come to thumbs up on the non-native side here. Once I get to this point, I'm gonna vroom vroom, rev my hoop like a motorcycle, and I want it to make contact. As soon as I release it, I want it to make as much contact with that web space in my hand and the back of my hand as possible. Okay? So I release. I want to be able to kind of balance it there and have that control. And now I'm going to give it enough of an oomph so I can push it and it can roll all the way across the back of my hand and roll to the pinky side of my hand so I can now catch it with thumbs down on the native side. We put that all together. We get something like so. You can practice with different amounts of force, with a bigger pendulum, with a smaller pendulum, and a smaller amount of translation here guiding it, a larger amount, what have you. Just practice this little roll here. All right, once you get comfortable with that, the next step is to work on this release here, to release and then sneak the elbow in. So I want to be able to release, release, no beat, sneak my elbow in and rotate it. And then you want to be able to give it a pop where you can catch it. So we put it together, we no beat, we sneak the elbow in, we give it a few rotations, we give it a nice pop out, and we catch it thumbs up. Once you feel comfortable with that, then just do it with just one elbow rotation, one single elbow rotation into a pop. We no beat, we elbow, pop. No beat, elbow, pop. No beat, elbow, pop. Once you're ready, once that feels pretty easy, you're ready to try it with two hoops. With two hoops, the hoops that's going to be doing the no beat and the elbow roll pop is the hoop that's closest to you, or closest to the thumb side of your hand. So we're gonna be starting here with the thumb pointed to the left, the non-native side. We're gonna be penduluming along the bottom, and we're gonna be rolling this pink hoop here, okay? And again, for now, I can just work on this, okay? And just work on that release. Oh, I forgot to cover this one. For now, work on this. Being able to release that hoop, which requires you only letting go with the thumb side of the hand while still holding on to the front hoop with the 4 fingers. We release. It's going to suspend on the back of the hand. We're going to continue rolling it and have it land behind the front hoop. So it was behind, it stays behind. It lands behind, and now I re-grip it with my thumb. One more time. Once you get comfortable with that, the next step is to try and get your elbow in. Okay? So we roll, we no beat, we elbow roll. Again, we no beat, we elbow roll. Whoops. And again, the most important part is that when you release this hoop, that it is immediately making contact with the web space of your hand, immediately making contact with the back of your hand. You have to maximize contact for this move in order to have the time that you need to get that elbow in and to get this other hoop closer to your body so that it's out of the way for your elbow roll into a pop. Once you are able to do this without any problem, go ahead and try and pop it out and catch with the other hand. Once you can no beat elbow bounce, oops. Once you can no beat into the elbow bounces into a pop out, Then try it while catching it with the same hand. Okay? Try that a few times with a couple rotations, and then once you're ready, just try it with just the one rotation. You might need to do a few rotations at first, to get the timing down, and that's okay. But I find it easier, I find I have more control over it when I just focus on doing one nice, slow, clean roll, elbow roll. All right. Same type of entrance from this elbow thing. We can go ahead and we can pop it out, and instead of catching it with our hand, we can catch it with our leg, like so. So I want to really pinch this with the back of my knee here. We pull this in so that it comes to make contact with the upper part of your thigh on your standing leg. And now we squeeze the heck out of our thighs and pick up your left leg so that this hoop comes up and over, and we just fold in, we put in this nice little globe. And we spin. So one more time. So, one more time from the start. Elbow roll, and we pop it out, we catch, we bring it in, we squeeze the heck out of our thighs, transfer our weight to our right leg, pick the left leg up and over, and we have it fold on over to a globe. Another option, instead of having it go to globe, is to catch it back in ocho, like we talked about in the first half of class, and going into ocho grip, if you want to stay in the whole two hoop one hand realm. All right, we only have one thing left. All right, so the last bit that we covered looks like so. Oops. And then we can also do it the opposite direction, like so. So the one hoop drills to be able to do this are as follows. You want to start with holding the hoop with an outside grip, thumbs up. We're going to isolate along the top to come to thumbs down at 9 o'clock. And at this point, you're going to give it a little umph upwards, like so, using your thumb to help. We're going to let go, unwind your wrist. The hoop should now be on the back of the hand. And now we're going to continue to rotate that wrist to come to thumbs up as the hoop falls down, and we grip at 3 o'clock, thumbs up. We start over, we isolate along the top to come to thumbs down at 9 o'clock. We give it a little push upwards, we balance, and we re-grip here. So when you do the whole thing, it's something like this. Okay, and then we're going to try the other direction now. Oops. So starting now with at 9 o'clock, thumbs down, we're going to isolate along the top here now and give it an umph the other way. So we isolate along from 9 o'clock, isolate along the top to 3 o'clock. I'm going to guide this hoop upwards like so. I'm going to let go of the hoop. I'm going to rotate my wrist so that the hoop is now balanced on the back of my hand. I'm going to continue rotating to come and bringing my arm to the non-native side, ending thumbs down at 9 o'clock here. So when I put the whole thing together, it looks like so. And then if we extend it to have it be the full cat eye, it would look something like so. All right, now putting it together with the two hoops, we're gonna start thumbs up here. We're gonna bring this pink hoop, we're gonna push the pink hoop down and bring the left hoop in like so. Bam. The thumb is now pointing to the non-native left side. We're now gonna bring this green hoop that's in the center, we're gonna push this out to the side and bring this pink hoop back up. Bam. Now we're in our setup for our grip switch. I'm going to, again, try and push this pink hoop upwards like bam, like so. I'm going to let go of both hoops. It's going to roll over the back of my hand. I'm going to continue rotating my wrist to re-grip thumbs up, coming back to the native side at our starting position at 3 o'clock. We put the whole thing together. We bring the pink hoop, the center hoop down. We bring the center hoop to the side. And now we give it a little oomph, we let go, oops, and we re-grip. I'm sorry, I have to do this faster to get it right. You need to use the momentum of this portion. This needs to help initiate the throw. Okay, so we anti-spin down, out to the side, up, and side. So I'm anti-spinning to wind my wrist up. I'm winding my wrist up. I give it a throw, I unwind my wrist, and I come back to my starting position. And now we're gonna try the other way. So now we're gonna go with the hoop up first, and it's going to start with us pushing the hoop up and immediately throwing it up. Immediately letting go and letting it roll over the back of the hand to end here. And now we're going to anti-spin down, side, up. Let go, re-grip. 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 All right. All right, guys, that's everything that we covered in the second half of this workshop. All right, if you guys have any questions about any of the moves, feel free to reach out. You can find me on Insta, Facebook, and YouTube under the Hoop Doc, or you can, of course, feel free to check out my website, www.thehoopdoc.com. I have more tutorials up there. I have more previous workshop recap videos up there. So I hope that you guys learned a lot in this recap and in this workshop. I do have more content, believe it or not. I have a lot more content to share with you guys. So, you know, keep an eye on my page, and there's more to come. Good luck with this material. I know it can be challenging and frustrating if you're just learning it for the first time. But be patient with yourself because none of this stuff is easy, and everybody learns at a different pace and from a different perspective. So, yeah. Good job. You're doing great.